Students of class 12 science. Today we will discuss about the fungal disease and about non-infectious disease, that is cancer. So let's first begin with the fungal disease, which mainly comes by the fungi belonging to the genera Microsporum, Trichophyton, and the Epidermophyton. So the fungal disease ringworm is mainly caused by Microphytes, which belong to the genus Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton. So kindly remember the generic name of those Microphytes which are responsible for causing the fungal disease, that is ringworm. Now, what are the symptoms of this disease? What are the symptoms of ringworm? So many symptoms are appearance of dry, scaly lesions on various parts of the body, which are usually very much itchy in nature. Then, lesions will mainly occur on the body parts such as nails, toes, scalp region, skin, and the groin area. These are mainly the general symptoms of the ringworm. Now, many of these lesions, after the formation of scaly lesions, is mainly accompanied by intense itching. So there will be vigorous itching after the formation of these lesions, which is the common symptom of ringworm disease. Then, heat and moisture help this fungi to grow, particularly in the skin, folds, in the groin, and between the toes. So remember the common symptoms of ringworm: the appearance of dry scaly lesions, and that lesions becomes itchy in nature, and mainly occurs in the body parts such as nails, toes, scalp area, skin, and the groin area. And then the intense heat and the moisture will help this fungi to grow or multiply. Now, mode of transmission: it is highly communicable disease. It spreads rapidly from an infected individual to healthy individuals. So the disease is generally acquired from the soil or by using the towel, clothes, or the home of infected person. So any articles, if it is being shared between the infected individuals and the healthy individuals, then this ringworm can easily be transferred. Here is highly communicable disease. Now, what are the disease causing Microphytes? Trichophyton, which grows in the hair, skin, and nails. Remember, Microsporum, which grows in the hair and the skin. Epidermophyton, which grows in the skin and occasionally in the nail area. Okay, so let's go with the name of the few ringworm diseases. Okay, basically based on their point of infection, side infections. So the scaly annular skin lesions. Annular means ring. Can you remember the meaning of annular? A-N-N-U-L-A-R. Annular means ring. All of you have seen the ringworm disease. It has to be in the form of a ring-like structure. So this annular means ring. R-I-N-G, ring. Okay. So many of these lesions are called tinea. T-I-N-E-A, tinea. So those particular lesions which mainly occur in the form of annular skin types or ring-like structures, they are called tinea. Okay. So these are mainly divided into tinea pedis, is also called as athlete's foot. Okay, tinea pedis. Then tinea cavitis, which is called as ringworm of scalp area. Then tinea carporis, which is called as ringworm of non-hairy skin of the body. So can you remember the name of this tinea depending on the part of the body where it infects. So we have got tinea pedis, which is called athlete's foot. Then tinea cavitis, which is called as ringworm of the scalp, and tinea carporis, which is called as ringworm of non-hairy skin part of the body. Clear? So remember the name of the fungal disease: ringworm, causative agents, the symptoms, mode of transmissions, and disease causing Microphytes, which are Trichophyton, Microsporum, and Epidermophyton. And those annular ring-like structures or the ringworms are called tinea, and based on the parts of the body which are infected, We have got tinea pedis, tinea capitis, and tinea capitis. Clear? So here we have clinically communicable disease. So now we learn about the non-infectious disease. Clear? So over here we mainly talk with the most important one, that is cancer. So all of you have heard about the disease, cancer, which is a very, very dreadful disease. Alright? Many those individuals mainly die of fear when they are mainly being diagnosed with disease cancer. So it is mainly a highly dreaded disease for human being and one of the major causes of death of the human being in the world. Alright? So in India, mainly lakhs of persons mainly they should die due to cancer. So actually, what is cancer? You know that most of the people in our world, they are suffering from different types of cancer. We will discuss afterwards the type of cancer. But actually, what is cancer? So before going into the definition of cancer, we'll try to recall the process of cell division and cell cycle. Yeah, so we'll first do cell cycle, try to recall it that we are done in class 11 science also about cell cycle and even in class 10 also. So in cell cycle we have learned about the different phases, right? We have learned about the first growth phase, then we have learned about synthesis phase and the second growth phase, and we have learned about interphase also. Yeah? So a normal cell has to pass from one phase of the cell cycle to the next phase. That means from the first growth phase they have to move into the synthesis phase, S phase, and from that S phase they have to move into the G2 phase or the second growth phase. So normal cell has to follow this particular conditions. So they have to fulfill all the criteria while moving from one phase to another phase of the cell cycle. Clear? If the cells are not able to fulfill the criteria or the conditions in each phase, then they are not allowed to move from one phase to another phase. But what happens in case of cancerous cells? What is the difference between these two cells, between the normal cells and the cancerous cells? And how does the normal cell will turn into the cancerous cells? Clear? So actually now what is cancer? So we are saying that normal cell will go in normal manner, they will move from one phase of the cell cycle to another phase of the cell cycle, they will fulfill all the criteria, all the terms and conditions, we can say that, okay, while moving from one phase to another phase. But what happens in case of cancer? What will be the behavior of the cell? Clear? So how are they able to form a tumor? So cancer means an uncontrolled division of cells without differentiation. On normal cells, alright, after passing the different phases of cell cycle, it has to go through interphase where it has to divide into two other cells. But only they will divide in number, they will not go in number, but there will be cell differentiation, a division of label where they have to form a different types of tissues and different types of organs. Clear? But here in cancer, there will be uncontrollable growth of the cells. Clear? And only that, those cells which are mainly growing in uncontrolled manner, they will not be differentiated, so that they will form a lump of cells, which is known as a tumor. So, it causes increase in the number of cells which invade and surround the adjacent cells and the tissue. Now, since it is an uncontrollable growth of the cells, when the cell will divide without any control mechanisms or without following any protocols, or whenever it has to move from one phase of the cell cycle to another phase of the cell cycle, it can move randomly, it can pass through checkpoints, which between G1 phase and S phase there is a checkpoint, there is a gate. Clear? So those cancerous cells, they can easily pass through that gate. So they can pass from G1 phase to S phase and from S phase to G2 phase. So those checkpoints will not be functioning. Clear? In case of any abnormal cells, when they are proliferating or when they are rapidly multiplying. So in that case, those cells will grow, will divide without any control measures. They will not be differentiated, so that the number will keep on increasing, and when the numbers keep on increasing, they will invade the surrounding cells and the tissues, and also will turn them into cancerous cells, and will see a lump of cells which will be formed, and those lump of cells will be known as the tumor cells. Clear? So cancer means an uncontrollable division of cells where the cell will not differentiate, and the cell will increase in number and will invade the surrounding cells and the tissues. So next one, what are the most important characteristic features of a cancerous cells? Yes, in cancerous cells, a normal cell will be a normal cells when it will undergo uncontrollable cell division without any differentiation and increasing number. So what are the basic features or the characteristics of cancerous cells? We will go through it one by one. So first one, cancerous cells resembles normal cells in their ability to divide, and manner of divisions here they differ from normal cells in the following manner. So in terms of divisions, we can say that both the cancerous cells and normal cells, they will go through the same process of cell division, but there is difference between these two. Okay, so we will discuss about the differences between the cancerous cells and the normal cells. How can we identify the cancerous cells or the abnormal cells? The first one is that it continually divides ceaselessly in an uncontrolled manner. So we have to learn that cancerous cells will divide continuously in an uncontrollable manner. Clear? Without any differentiation. So these divisions will be ceaselessly without stopping, keep on dividing again and again. Number two, it does not undergo differentiation. Because once the normal cells will divide, it has to differentiate to form a particular type of tissues or the organs. But over here, those cancerous cells, though it divides without any control measures, but those divided cells will not undergo differentiations. Number three, overgrowth and accumulation of new sites forming secondary tumors. That means it will keep on dividing, it will keep on increasing in number, and when it keep on increasing in number, it will invade and infect the surrounding cells in the tissues, and they will form a secondary tumor or lump of cells or clump of cells. Most important one, those cancer cells will move from one part of the organ of the body to the other part of the body. Clear? So from one part of the body, it can move to the other part of the body or the organs. And this particular process where the cancer cells are able to move or migrate from one part of the organ to the other part of the organ in our body is known as metastasis. It's very important. What is metastasis? It is the ability of our cancer cells to migrate from one part of the organ of our body to the another organ or the other part of our body. So in this way, the cancer cells keep spreading from one part, from one organ of our body to the other organ of our body. And this feature is one of the most important characteristics of cancerous cells. It is called metastasis. Now next one, resist cell death and proper development of tumor. So over here, those cancer cells will not undergo cell death or normal cell death, and it will help in the formation of tumors. Afterwards, we will learn about the type of tumors. Nucleus becomes irregular. It becomes granular and hypertrophic. It will increase in size. Number of lysosomes increases. Mitochondrial crystal becomes few. Cancer cells lack contact and remain unattached. There is one important property of normal cell, that is contact inhibitions. That one cell will be in contact with another cell. Okay, in normal cell, one cell will be in contact with another cell. So that if one of these cells will be affected, then due to these contact inhibitions, all the cells will be protected. But in cancerous cells, this property of contact inhibition has been lost. There is no property of contact inhibition. Next one, there are certain genes like BRCA1, BRCA2, CDH1, MLH1, etc., which undergo mutation. So when these genes undergo mutation, it also leads to the cancer. So these are the different characteristics or the features of cancerous cells. And over here, kindly remember the most important term, that is metastasis. Okay, very, very important, and the loss of contact inhibition. So these are the two important features of cancerous cells. One is metastasis, the property or the power to or the ability to migrate from one part of the body or the organ to another part or the organ of the body. And number two, most important property is loss of contact inhibition, which we generally find in normal cells. In normal cells, the cells are in contact with one another. Clear? So we will find a normal growth of the cells. So where one cell will control the growth of another cell, but this property has been lost in case of cancerous cells. So we will find a lump of cells which will be growing, and this particular lump of cells will be known as mainly a tumor. Clear? Now we will just see the difference between the normal cell and the cancerous cells. So cancerous cells, you can see over here, will divide in an uncontrolled manner, but normal cells will divide in a regular manner, have a different lifespan. But cancerous cells, they don't have a different lifespan. Clear? Cancerous cells do not undergo differentiation, but normal cells, they undergo differentiation. Number 3, cancerous cells do not remain adhered and have lost cell-to-cell contact. That means there is no power or property of cell-to-cell contact inhibition. But over in normal cells, the cells will remain adhered, they will be in contact with one another, where we can say that natural cell contact inhibits the growth and uncontrolled division in neighboring cells. So we have just mentioned that a normal cell will find cell-to-cell contact, where one cell will mainly control the growth of another cells. Clear? But this property has been lost in case of cancerous cell. Cancer cells do not have a different lifespan, but normal cells have a different lifespan. Cancer cells have invading capacity. Okay, they can infect the surrounding cells or the tissues or the blood vessels, whereas normal cells, they don't have the property of invading the surrounding cells. Mitochondria can stay active in case of cancerous cells, but normal cells, mitochondria can stay are normal. Cancerous cells, lysosomes are many, and in case of normal cells, there are only few lysosomes. You know what lysosomes? What are they known as? Nucleus is large hypertrophied, whereas nucleus is vesicular and globular oval in case of normal cells. So kindly go over the table on 5.6 from your textbook and go over the difference between cancer cell and the normal cells. Next one. How does the normal cell will transform into a cancerous cells? Clear? So mainly over here, the most important property is that a normal cell will find cell-to-cell contact inhibition, right? Where one cell will control the growth of another cell. But such property is usually been lacking in case of cancerous cells. So how are the normal cells are being transformed into cancerous cells? So it's mainly due to the loss of contact of a cell or cell with surrounding cells. So it's mainly due to the property which is being lost in case of cancerous cells, and that property is cell-to-cell contact inhibition. Now those properties are mainly lost due to a biological agent, or we can say a chemical agent, or the physical agent, which is called carcinogen. Carcinogen, C-A-R-C-I-N-O-G-E-N. Carcinogen are the agents that causes cancer. Clear? So this particular property, that is cell-to-cell contact inhibition, is mainly lost in case of cancerous cells. And this property has been lost simply due to the certain physical agent, chemical agent, or we can say the biological agent, which is known as carcinogen. So the process involves the following steps. So how does the normal cell will change in the cancerous cells? The process are initiation by carcinogen, we require certain agents, where promotions due to conversion of proto-oncogenes into oncogenes. Now what is proto-oncogenes? First one we require carcinogens. Initiation of transformation of normal cell to cancerous cells requires carcinogen. Then after that, in our body, we have got the cancer-causing genes, which are in inactive form. They are called proto-oncogenes. We have got cells. Okay, we have got genes in our body. We are cancerous, but they are in inactive form. They are called proto-oncogenes. But due to the carcinogens, these proto-oncogenes will be changed into cancer-causing genes from the oncogenes. Next one. Progression due to the intracellular changes in the normal cell and formation of tumor cell or neoplasm. So then after that, when the proto-oncogenes will be converted into oncogenes, then there will be progressions where the normal cells will change into the tumor cells or neoplasm cells. And last one, metastasis, where the cells will undergo repeated cell divisions and they can migrate or move from one part of our body or from one part of the organ of our body to the other part in our body. So by this way, the normal cells will be changed into our cancerous cells. Remember by the term proto-oncogenes, oncogenes, and remember carcinogens. So each and every one of us has the cancer-causing genes which are called proto-oncogenes, which will be changed into the cancer-causing genes called the oncogenes. Clear? Now we will now we'll discuss about the sign or signals of cancer. So we have learned that how the normal cells will change into cancerous cells, right? How the proto-oncogenes will change into oncogenes, and that oncogenes will promote the normal cells to go into cancerous cells, which will show the property of metastasis. So now we will learn about the signals of cancer. So first of all, cancer is mainly an uncontrolled mitotic divisions of cells, which will be an uncontrolled divisions where the cells will not undergo differentiation. Here, so here we can say that those uncontrolled division of cancerous cells will ultimately lead to the formation of tumor, a lump of cells. Now, cancer cells with the normal feedback control, thereby these cells multiply much faster than the normal cells. We have learned also there will be uncontrollable division of the cells, so therefore the cancerous cells will mainly keep on dividing in an uncontrollable manner. So let's see the different signs or the danger signs of the cancer. So presence of persistent tumor. Alright, so tumor will be there on leg, tongue, or breast, or any part of the body. If you find a tumor, this is mainly one of the signs of cancer, but all the tumors are not cancerous. We'll discuss that also. Rapid change in appearance, form, and growth of warts on the body is also one of the symptoms and signs of cancer. Persistent change in the bowel movement, persistent hoarseness in voice, coughing, or difficulty in swallowing indicate the chances of throat cancer. Any wound with continuous bleeding or not healing for a long period is one of the signs of cancer. Excessive bleeding during menses or loss of blood affect the usual dates, and continuous loss in blood, which are the general sign of the cancer. Now, the types of tumor. So generally there are two types of tumor: benign tumor and malignant tumor. So what is benign tumor and what is malignant tumor? Benign tumor is non-cancerous. So all the tumors, they are not cancerous. So we have to identify whether the tumor is benign or it is malignant. Okay, so benign tumor is not cancerous, they are non-cancerous, or non-malignant. Non-malignant means they are not able to spread from one part of the body to the other part. So they are non-malignant and remains confined to the original positions. Alright, so in whatever part of the body will find benign tumor, they will be confined to a fixed position. They will not change their positions. Okay, now it starts increasing in size. After certain increase in size, gets encapsulated in connective tissue and remains localized. The cells of benign tumor are unable to infiltrate into the adjacent tissue, example warts. That means this benign tumor or the cells of the benign tumor are not able to invade the surrounding tissues or surrounding cells. So benign tumor are non-cancerous, they are non-malignant, and they are always confined to the fixed position, and those tumors can be removed by help of surgical procedures. Clear? Whereas in case of malignant tumor, these are the actual cancerous cells. Okay, these are actual cancer tumors which shows the property of metastasis. That means they can move from one part of the body to the other part of the body. Okay, and it's mainly the cells of these tumors are spread from, are multiplied by the blood and the lymph to the other part of the body, where they will form the secondary malignant growth. So that means they will show the property of metastasis. And the secondary malignant growths are called metastatic cancer or the secondary cancer. So in between the benign tumor and the malignant tumor are cancerous tumor. Okay, they will show the property of metastasis. They are carried, or the cells of the tumor are carried by the blood and linked to the other part of the body, where they will form the secondary malignant growths, which are called the metastatic cancers, or we can say the secondary cancers. So benign tumor and malignant tumor differences. Benign tumor are single mass of cells including capsules, whereas malignant tumors are mass of proliferating neoplastic cells without capsule. So it is mainly a single mass of cells, but over here we will find a mass of proliferating cells, dividing cells. These cells of benign tumor will grow slowly and the tumor growth will stop or sometimes, but over here it will grow rapidly and will keep on growing. It is not invasive, that means it is confined to a fixed positions. It will not invade the surrounding tissues or the cell. But over here, malignant tumor will show the property of metastasis. It is highly invasive. It can infect the surrounding cells and surrounding tissue. Benign tumor cells are non-migratory, so hence they do not migrate from place of origin, but they can move from one part of the body to another part of the body. They are pseudopodial-like processes by which they are able to infect the surrounding cells. Benign tumor are non-cancerous, whereas malignant tumor they are highly cancerous. We can say they are non-proliferate, latent period exists between incision and progression of tumor. So kindly go with the differences between benign tumor and malignant tumor. The next one. Just briefly about the types of tumor. It will be here for you, and important to remember the different types of tumor. Okay. So different types of tumors are from one sarcomas, where there will be malignant growth in the tissue derived from embryonic mesoderm. That is the tissues which are derived from the mesoderm. Remember the embryonic germ layer, ectoderm, endoderm, and the mesoderm. We get from the different tissues organ in our body during embryonic development. So those tissues which are mainly derived from the embryonic mesoderm will undergo malignant growth. And when these tissues become infected, then they are called sarcomas, which is called cancer of bone, muscle, lymph node, and connective tissues. Then carcinomas is malignant growth of the tissue of the skin, or we can say the cancerous skin, lung, breast, stomach, and pancreas. Melanomas, that means the tumor or the cancer that arises from the melanoma side of the skin. Leukemia and lymphomas, we can say the blood cancers, where there will be abnormal increase in the number of WBC. And Hodgkin disease, example of human lymphoma. Remember over here, leukemia means blood cancer simply, where there will be abnormal increase in the number of WBC. In India, uterine cervical cancer and cancer of mammary glands in women and mouth and throat cancer in men are more common. These are the different types of cancers. Next one. What are the causes of cancer? First one is smoking. Smoking causes lung cancer. Clear? It causes cancer of mouth, throat, and larynx. Chewing tobacco is also one of the reasons for the cancer. Where it causes irritation of the buccal cavity or buccal epithelium, which causes mouth cancer. Physical irritations like irritations in a specific part of the body for a longer period of time can cause cancer. For example, mainly in Kashmir, the Kashmir people keep a kangri, or mainly to keep them warm. So on the breast to keep them warm. So during this time, what is that? Due to the continuous use of this kangri, there will be skin irritations for a longer period of time in the same place. Okay, and due to that continuous irritation or the constant irritation for a longer period of time in this specific part of the body will lead to the skin cancer. Cases of broken tooth, rubbing the tongue, alright, for a longer period of time can also cause cancer of the tongue. With different chemicals like nicotine, caffeine, coal, oil, combustion products, polycyclic hydrocarbons, which can also lead to the cancers. Aromatic enzymes can used in synthetic dyes can cause cancer of urinary bladder. Large doses of steroids, sex hormones can also cause cancer. Pesticides, asbestos, nickel units can also cause cancer. Frequent exposure to radiations like X-ray again can also cause cancer. Parental agents like viruses and some other parasites are also responsible for causing cancers. Okay, so there are different causes for cancer. Yeah, so go through it. Now, carcinogens, the cancer-causing agents like excessive sunlight. So prolonged exposure to UV rays will cause skin cancer. Cold power, skin and lung cancer can cause skin and lungs. Cigarette smoking can cause lungs and lips, infect lungs and lip cells. Mustard gas, lungs, nickel chromium, liver aflatoxins into the liver, okay, to naphthalimide and 4-aminobiphenyl will infect the urinary bladder, cadmium oxide will infect the prostate glands in case of male, diethyl restore DES will infect the vagina. So there are different causes and a different part of the body which can be infected with different types of disease. Okay. Now, early detection and diagnosis. So detection of cancerous cells has to be done in the earliest stage or the earliest one. Yeah. Because if it will be diagnosed at the later stage, then it will be very, very difficult for its proper treatment. So diagnosis of cancer must be done at the early, so that the proper treatment can be available and be cured. Clear? So let's see. Early detection of cancer is essential. As the earlier stage, cancer becomes incurable. So that detecting cancer cells at the earliest stage. Thus, whenever it will be detected at the later stage, it cannot be cured. Okay, so what are the different methods by which we can detect the cancer? First one, histopathological method. I have learned about biopsy, or I have heard about biopsy, where a part of tissue will be taken to find out whether it is cancerous or not cancerous. So, over here we will go for biopsy and histological examinations of the affected tissue. That test is used to detect the cervical cancer. Now in biopsy, look carefully, right? In biopsy, a piece of this suspected tissue is cut into thin sections, stained and examined under the microscope. This is called histological examination or histological study, where the section of the tissues will be studied. So over here, we have to go for biopsy. We'll study the infected tissue to find out whether it is cancerous or non-cancerous. Then we'll find with the use of molecular biological technique to find out the genes which are defective, okay, which are responsible for certain cancers. Tumor markers, which will detect the presence of tumor in our body. So these are biochemical indicators which will indicate the presence of tumors. Alright? And this marker includes surface antigens, cytoplasmic proteins, enzymes, and hormones. Remember the name of the marker. Endoscopy can be done in order to find out the cancer of the intestine and stomach. Okay. Laparoscopy is done to detect cancer of pelvic region. Radioisotope linked monoclonal antibody that used to detect cancer specific antigens. Blood and bone marrow test can be done to see the count of the WBC. If there is abnormal count of WBC, then we can really correlate it with the case of leukemia, the blood cancer. Radiographic technique where you can go for X-ray, where you can go for computed tomography, CT scan, and you can go for MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, which are very, very useful for detection of cancer. Right? Now, next we can see antibodies against cancer. Specific antigens can be used to find out the certain cancers. Techniques of molecular biology are used to detect genes in individuals with inherited susceptibility to certain cancer. So these are the different procedures by which we can detect cancer. And remember, detection must be done at the earlier stage, because once it will be detected at the later stage or the final stage, then cancers will be incurable. So it's better to find out the cancerous cells at the early stage. Now let's talk about the treatment of cancer. Yeah, so what can be done? The common method is surgery. So we can go for surgery. We can remove those cancerous cells or the cancerous tissues, but it cannot be employed for all the types of cancers. Clear? Can you remember that there are Malignant Tumor which can be removed by means of surgery? It is not cancerous. In current case of Malignant Tumor also, the tissues can be removed by the help of surgery, but it has to be followed by chemotherapy. So we can go for surgery, we can remove those infected tissues, but after the surgery is done, we have to go for chemotherapy, where we give different types of cytotoxic drugs which will kill the infected cells. Clear? Which are able to kill the cancerous cells. So most of these chemotherapy drugs which are used are cisplatin, fluorouracil, vincristine, and vinblastine. But majority of these drugs have side effects which are used to have hair loss and anemia. We can go for radiotherapy, exposure to ionizing radiations like X-ray, which will kill the cancerous cells. Right? It is employed in 80% of the cancer patients. It gives good result in skin, lip, mouth, and cervical cancer, but it may also cause greater damage to the normal tissue. That means this radiotherapy will not only kill the cancer cells, but it has a side effect. It will also kill the normal cells. Hormonal therapy can be done. In this case, we can go for the use of certain hormones. Alright, for example, in breast cancer can be used can be done by using the hormonal therapy, where we will give also the hormone called testosterone. Immunotherapy, where we use red isotopes linked to monoclonal antibody. Alright, then patients are given substances called biological response modifier. Remember, in case immunotherapy, the individuals suffering with cancers are given biological response modifier like interferon. This interferon will activate the immune system and will help in destroying the tumor. So these are the general procedures or treatments of cancer. So today we have learned about the fungal disease, that is ringworm, and we have learned about the non-infectious disease, that is cancer. So we have learned about the definition of cancer, we have learned about the most important characteristic feature of